Hi, I'm here to do a meditation today on the practical use of your mode of interaction. So, whenever you feel ready, come to rest in whatever position is comfortable so that you can fully take in the words and integrate them. Finding your breath and the support underneath of you as you rest. Being fully present and grounding all of your energies here and now. So every day, throughout the day, we want to notice which mode we're using to operate. We might at times find ourselves in fear-based mode or desire mode. From there we can shift to expectation mode or open present interaction. For example, you would say to yourself, I notice I'm interacting through fear or scarcity. I choose to interact through presence with infinite possibility. So you notice and choose out loud. I notice I'm interacting this way. I choose, and you decide. It's not an affirmation, it's a shift. It's a shift in the way your consciousness will interact with the field. When you commit to open present interaction, find a word that works for you, a keyword. Mine is as simple as shift. Find a word that helps you remember, oh, I'm operating from fear. I might want to shift. What word would you use? So find your own word. Maybe it's not now, or maybe it occurs to you. And commit to that, shifting back to open present interaction. These are the benefits of doing so. Reality becomes even more fluid instead of fixed. There's an understanding that circumstances are manifestations, interacting with polarity, not objective facts. Everything becomes workable. Everything becomes workable. Nothing is an objective fact. Situations that seem impossible to change become responsive to shifts based on your interaction mode. So you're not stuck in reality anymore. You're navigating possibility through different modes of interaction. This means freedom. When you get past the belief that reality is fixed, you find freedom. Suffering decreases dramatically when you operate more from open presence. Most suffering comes from resistance to what's manifested, and that matches the interaction mode. And so the resistance will prevent. In this way, you're not fighting reality. You're being shown how you're interacting unconsciously. And you can shift that interaction consciously at that point. So when something manifests that's not what you want, don't lament on what happened. You can shift how you operate in that moment. So the next thing is a little bit different and more in your favor. And problems don't become less real. You just realize you're not a victim of circumstance any longer. That's not you. And we learn from feedback about our interaction patterns as well. So we learn through feedback too that we're not a victim of circumstance, that we have the choice, the ability. And then manifestation becomes more reliable. to understand the mechanics. Consciousness interacts with possibility through specific modes. Each mode collapses matching manifestations. Creation becomes systematic instead of magical. You don't hope the universe is going to grant your wishes. You're consciously choosing your interaction mode, and allowing appropriate manifestations to then emerge. You're not forcing, you're not controlling. You're interacting coherently and letting possibility collapse naturally. In this way, your decision making becomes clear. When you recognize that multiple futures exist as possibility, and your choice is about which one you will interact with most coherently, decisions become obvious. You're not trying to figure out the right choice. You're sensing which possibility resonates with your highest frequency. Some possibilities feel open, aligned, fluid. Others feel closed, resistant, misaligned. Follow the interaction that feels the most coherent. Trust that it will collapse the appropriate manifestation. Relationships transform through these interaction shifts. When you interact with people as fixed, others feel closed, resistant, misaligned, like they have fixed dynamics. You follow the interaction that feels the most coherent, trusting that it will collapse appropriate manifestation. This means you don't see it as fixed, you just trust. When you interact with people as though they're capable of any expression based on how you engage with them, that's what changes the relationship, the manifestation. That's when things become fluid. It's how you interact with the person. And that shift in your interaction allows different aspects of their personality to come out. And that's confirmation that your intention is aligned, that you're on the right track. Reality will keep showing you through meaningful coincidence that you're on the right track. Coherent interactions collapse coherent manifestations from recognizable patterns. And you learn to read these patterns as feedback about your interaction quality. These are your synchronicities. Your creative power amplifies exponentially. Once you realize that you're always creating reality through interaction, never passively experiencing objective circumstances, your sense of creative power becomes unlimited. This isn't egoic power over circumstances or others. This is quantum power. The possibilities is the creative mechanism of existence itself. So all of those possibilities. And you are that consciousness in individual form with full access to the full creative mechanism. So life becomes an exploration instead of a struggle. When reality is a possibility you interact with, life is more about survival or success before, and it changes to become more about something different as you interact differently with open possibility, exploration, questions. What happens if I interact this way? You start to ask yourself. What manifestation emerges from that mode, you might ask? What's possible that I haven't discovered yet? It's something we should ask ourselves constantly. And from here, asking questions, being curious, dissolves the pressure. It eases the anxiety. You're not trying to control outcomes. You're not exploring what consciousness can create through different interaction modes. And this activates in your life now, beginning to explore what consciousness can create, understanding this more deeply. And the more you consciously interact with possibility, the more these benefits stabilize as your actual experience. And the key takeaways from this, just knowing that how important it is that just to remember always, you're not separate. You're part of the desired manifestation field, subject to interacting with object. Yourself engaging in a world. Your consciousness affecting reality. This creates the illusion that you are outside the probability field, trying to work at it from a distance. But we know from quantum physics that the observer isn't separate from what's observed. The measurer isn't separate from what's measured. Consciousness interacts with possibility, and that's not separate from possibility being interacted with. They are aspects of one unified system, appearing as two through the lens of perspective. You're not consciousness observing possibility. Your possibility recognizing itself from the specific form of your individual awareness. All potential realities exist within the infinite field. Your consciousness is not separate from the field. It's the field becoming aware of itself from a certain focal point of attention. That focal point is what you call you. Is how infinite possibility explores what it can become through different modes of interaction. I leave you with the quotes. You are that. Atman is Brahman. The dewdrop slips into the shining sea. You are everything, and everything is you. So how will you choose to interact consciously versus unconsciously? In what mode? And what will you leave room for? I wish you luck in your quantum journey and in your journey here on this planet. I hope you'll join me for more meditations. Thank you.